Want to see a brand new 35mm half frame camera with 4 fun lenses? I went with a photo walk with Dave Faulkner of Alfie Cameras to talk about his new half frame camera. So kick back, grab a beer or a brew and enjoy. So I've got with me Dave Faulkner, the inventor of Alfie Cameras, and he's holidaying here on the Isle of Wight, and he's contacted me and said, "You fancy going for a photo walk?" I said, "Yeah, go on then, we'll have some of that." So we're at Yaverland Beach. And Dave's brought one of his cameras over, one of his Alfie cameras. Dave, tell us about your camera that you've got there.
Yeah, I knew I was coming on holiday, so I got in touch with Roger as soon as I knew I was coming here. And I brought a couple of cameras with me so that Roger can try them out, find some of the things that we need to still just polish and get right. But it's a half frame analog film camera with 4 different lenses on it. And it's got a battery built in with a USB charge point because it does automatic metering or a manual mode as well. So you can just literally point and shoot, or you can go full manual and get all the control you want. So you get about, with a half frame, if you're not familiar, it takes the 35mm frame and splits it into 2. So you get double the number of shots. And my son managed to get 86 pictures off a Kodak film. So Snappy Snaps weren't too keen developing it, but he managed to get loads of shots. The lenses that are on here, it depends. There's 2 versions of the camera. This is the premium one, and it's premium because it's got a f8 4-element rectilinear lens on it that's been designed by Jason Lane in the US, and it's got a glass optics viewfinder on the top. And the lower model, the non-premium model, has a plastic viewfinder and doesn't have this premium lens on it. But you've also got, apart from the premium lens, you've got a f8 meniscus lens, which is a single element, takes kind of quite characterful shots, but they're reasonably sharp still. And you've got a f125 pinhole lens, and you've got a f56 zone sieve as well, which is similar to a pinhole, but it's a bit of a softer image, lets a bit more light in, and can create these blooms in certain areas of the picture. So meters on the front. It's as simple as, once this film loaded, I was about to open the back and show the inside, but we got a film in there. Once the film's loaded, if you want to do it in point and shoot mode, you just select the auto mode, and away you go. And every time you wind on, you've got to look for the indicator on the back. It's a bit like 120 film camera, where you're looking for the stuff on the numbering on the back of the film paper. And you can do multiple exposures. One of the challenges with developing a film camera is the mechanisms at low volumes can be really expensive. So one of the ways we've got around that is just made it that you simply take a shot and wind on like you would on an old 120. And it's nothing to stop you double exposure unintentionally, but also nothing to stop you doing a double exposure intentionally.
Basically, yeah.
So I did a really interesting shoot the other week at the fun fair that was on our back field, and I deliberately multiple exposures crossing over halves of the frame, so had like different fairground rides, multiple exposure overlaid across about 2.5 frames of film. And that was a really cool image.
So Dave's letting me loose with the camera. He's over there taking pictures. I'm going to put the little tiny strap round just in case I drop it in the water. I don't want to do that. Okay. So it's in auto mode. I'm using this lens here. Dave called it some fancy name. I can't remember what he said. But let's take a picture anyway. Automatic exposure. And it's being half frame, it's in portrait mode, the viewfinder. It's quite interesting. Let's take a shot. It's done. It's so quiet as well. Dave said that if I keep my finger pressed on it, it will take another exposure, obviously on the same frame. I don't want to do that. So that's one shot taken. Dave, how many more have I got?
At least 60.
I've got about another 60 frames to take. Go to the next frame. And Dave's right, this is quite good fun actually. I've got, what, 4 lenses to play with. I don't know why I'm wearing my glasses. Let's try one of the other lenses. I've got to change the settings for the lens, right?
you could do the meniscus one, and that'll be exactly the same settings.
This one here, the meniscus lens. So choose the meniscus lens. That's 30mm f8, yeah? I got so excited playing around with the lenses, I forgot to advance the film. At least it showed me some multiple exposures. A schoolboy error, I know, but don't fear, Dave did it too.
I've been developing this camera now for 2 years. We launched on Kickstarter back in September last year. We got a number of backers, and I'm just in the process of building that first 200 batch of cameras for those backers, and that's going to give me a spare stock of cameras to start selling direct to people, and also to look at the wholesale market as well. So, you know, retailing through people in the UK initially, and then we'll see where things go from there.
If you're enjoying the content that I make, then maybe you'd like to support the work I do on the channel by joining me on Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. For as little as $2 or £2 a month, you can get access to my other videos and posts, as well as early releases. Or you can grab some merch or buy me a coffee. This helps me massively to continue making content. Or simply subscribe, hit the like button, sit back, relax and enjoy the videos. Cheers! And what sort, has it been a headache for you creating this camera? Obviously anything that you create, especially something like this, and trying to get the parts from all around the world at the right price, that's got to be hard work, right?
Yeah, parts is a real challenge. Shutters was a massive problem. I had a shutter, I originally designed the camera with a shutter, and once we got the backing from Kickstarter, I then, I've got to secure the quantity I need to build the first batch of cameras, and that shutter in the meantime had gone obsolete. So my first headache immediately after the joy of getting backed on Kickstarter was, I've got to find a new shutter. So I had to source a new one from China. That took 2 months, and I had to order a minimum of 500 of them, which was quite an expensive exercise. But it's the sort of thing you have to do to secure your design and be able to produce in even low volumes of hundreds. But it makes everything that bit more challenging, that bit more expensive. Same thing happened with my battery. So my battery went obsolete, rechargeable battery that's in the bottom here. So I had to find a manufacturer of batteries, get them to custom make the battery for me, and order a decent stock of those in as well. Yeah. So it can be pretty challenging. Some of the challenges are quite good fun, actually trying to test the camera out and make sure the features work how you want. That's quite enjoyable. Well,
if it's not enjoyable, you wouldn't be doing it, would you?
No, totally.
You obviously love all this sort of stuff.
I do. I've been doing design engineering for years now. I graduated in it from university and went into medical devices, but always had a passion for photography. So it's really exciting to be able to apply my skills from mechanical engineering to something I'm passionate about.
And I bet you don't have much time to do any photography.
No.
Making the camera.
I do lots of half-frame photography. Lots of pictures with light leaks when I was fixing that problem. But most of my wildlife photography I used to love doing, my landscape photography, kind of fallen by the wayside. But I got a chance to do some this evening with you, which would be brilliant.
Tell us about half-frame cameras now. I've developed half-frame negatives. I've never actually shot any. The only camera I know is the Pen. Is it the Olympus Pen F or is it the Pen? Why half frame? What's the attraction to half frame?
2 years ago, I was on holiday on the Isle of Wight, and I knew that half frame was going to be one of the limitations of what I would be able to do. So I popped into the camera shop in Ryde up the hill. And they had a half frame Olympus Pen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It literally just come in a box. He said, it's untested, do you want it? And I said, well, give it here, I'll test it now. Seemed to fire all right, so I bought it, took my roll of pictures on holiday, I had so much fun. I was like, this is gonna work. This is an exciting and fun way to take pictures, because it saves you from that. When I first started film, I'd be like, oh, it's quite expensive. I spent, at that point, 12 quid on a film, like a professional film that's now 30 quid. And I was worrying about every frame. With half frame, it releases you from that, because you start off in that same mentality, worrying about every frame. And then you look down, you realize you're on frame 12 and it goes to 76. And you're like, okay, I'm going to have a bit more fun with this, and you just start telling stories more and taking pictures in a much freer way. It just releases you from any worry, and you'll just snap shots off and just enjoy it. And some of the results you get from that different approach are really exciting.
It's small production, you're on your own. It's not going to be as cheap as people probably expect, because at the moment you're only building a certain amount, and those parts cost money to buy, don't they?
Yeah, it's challenging. When I first developed the camera, I had ambitions to have it at a really low price point that was very accessible, and it quickly became clear that with the cost of the components and the low volume manufacture, the price point was going to be higher than I'd like. But and that was the reason behind having the two models. So we've ended up with a basic model that's going to retail at $299, and then the premium one with the expensive optics is up at $499.
Right. And then some people are going to say, well, that's quite expensive, but at the end of the day, you're on your own. You're making these in a small batch of numbers at the moment, kickstarting, trying it out, and getting these out to people that would want to enjoy them.
Yeah, definitely. And it's an exciting camera to play with. If you fancy it, check us out on the website. That'll be getting updated once I've got my hands free from ordering parts for the latest batch, and we'll have more information on there.
So that was Dave Faulkner from Alfie Cameras showing me his new half frame camera. And if you want to follow Dave and see his progress on the camera, where he's been with it, what he's up to recently, check out his Instagram page and also his YouTube channel as well. I think these guys are coming out with innovative ideas for us film nuts to whet our appetites with. And you know, this stuff is not on a massive scale, so often, more than not, it's going to be quite expensive if you want to jump into this stuff. And don't forget, film photography for most of us is a hobby, and most hobbies can be expensive, especially when you're buying new stuff that's not out there for the masses. And I'm not affiliated in any way with Dave whatsoever. He's gone back to the mainland now from holiday, and he's taken the camera back with him. So thanks a lot, Dave, for letting me try the camera. Thanks a lot for shouting out to me and going on a photo walk with me. I enjoyed myself. We had some good fun, and we took some nice little pictures there, even though I was using expired film. Didn't come out the best. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Check out Dave. There goes an airplane. I'm going to cut off before it gets louder. Catch you later.
Round to change the lens that you want to use. Trying to get in shot.
The dog's blocking me tripod.
So meters on the front. It's as simple as once this film loaded, I was